right, hey everybody, and welcome to Zenfolio Live. Today we're going to be talking about how to create your portfolio here on Zenfolio. That's what we're going to be doing today, is talking about collecting and organizing your images, uploading them, creating a portfolio group, making sure that they're titled correctly, captioned, have the keywords. We're going to talk about the customization of the gallery, and then we're going to finish up with how you should link to your portfolios from your site menu to make sure that it's easy for your visitor to navigate through and get to your images. Okay, so here we are in my Zenfolio account. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about collecting your images for your portfolio. Right? And this is a great way, especially if you're just getting started on Zenfolio. What I always tell people is to use Zenfolio's folder upload, right? So rather than trying to go in here and create a bunch of galleries and portfolios and folders and groups and all of that stuff starting out in your Zenfolio account, what I recommend that you do is get your portfolio organized on your computer first using folders. So I'm going to pull up this folder right here. And you guys can see I've actually already uploaded this one, but I'm going to show you what it looks like. So I have this portfolio folder in here. And inside of that folder, what I've done is I've actually created some subfolders for the different types of photography that I do. Now, if this was my actual portfolio, there'd be several other folders in here with different stuff in there. But basically what I've done is I've created a subfolder for family, and inside of there I have my family photos portfolio. So that's all of my portfolio images. And then backing up, I have a dance portfolio. So if I go in this folder, there's all of these dance images in here. Okay. And so that is how I recommend that you organize things before you get ready to upload it to your Zenfolio account. Create a main folder like this. You can call it portfolio, you can call it whatever you want. We are going to talk about changing the names later. And then inside of there, create a folder for each different portfolio that you need to have. And then inside of those subfolders, then that is where you're going to be uploading your images. All right. Now, once you have this created, the nice thing about it is you can just upload this folder right to Zenfolio, and our system will actually recreate all of that organization that you've built. And so to do that, all you need to do is you need to go into your Zenfolio account, click on all photographs, or if you already have a group in here that you want to upload it to, you would click on that, hit upload, and then you're just going to take this main folder and just drag this into the upload area. I'm not actually going to upload this because there's not really a point to uploading it twice, but you drag and drop that into the upload area. And then what it's going to do, like I said, Zenfolio's system is going to recreate that entire organization. Now, if you're brand new to Zenfolio, I want to explain how the upload works a little bit. Here on Zenfolio, you do have unlimited storage of normal image files on your account. So that's TIFFs, GIFs, JPEGs, and PNG files. Typically, I usually try to upload the high resolution JPEG images. That's just a personal thing. What Zenfolio does is whenever you upload your images, we never show that original file online. So if you're worried about having to downsize your images to web resolution, you don't have to worry about that. We actually do that for you. So when you upload your images, Zenfolio is going to take that original image that you upload. We're going to store it unaltered, and then we are going to generate web resolution files for your website. All right. And so that's a step that you don't have to do. So once you have this in here, you would just click Start Upload. It would go through the upload process. And a quick tip on uploading, if you have a lot of large files, I do recommend, if it's possible, to hardwire in on your computer that you're uploading to, because these days, it seems like everything in our house is on Wi-Fi, right? So even if we have really good internet, Wi-Fi is not a stable signal of or a stable source of internet. It can go in and out. It can be intermittent, especially depending on what else is on that Wi-Fi in your house. So if you're uploading a bunch of images and you're on Wi-Fi and your wife has a computer and both of you have smartphones and your 8-year-old is streaming Netflix and your teenagers are watching Netflix in their room, that's a lot of devices that are taking that Wi-Fi signal and taking away from it. And so you can see your internet quality and your internet speed kind of go up and down because of that. If you hardwire in using an Ethernet cable, you can get an adapter if you need. If you hardwire in, that's going to give your computer priority, and it's also going to provide a much more stable connection, which will help your upload speeds and help you upload faster. So I do recommend that. All right. But you would just click start upload. And then after this uploads, this is what it's going to look like. So we're going to go back to photos. I'm not really going to upload this because I've already done that in preparation. We're going to go right down here. And this is what this would look like after I uploaded it. So I'm going to zoom in here. And basically, it would create a group or a folder, or we call it a group here on Zenfolio, called Portfolio. And then inside of that, we would have sub galleries of the different subfolders where our images would actually be. Now that we have our content, our portfolio organized and uploaded in here, let's talk a little bit about the settings that we want to apply. And what I typically recommend is that you apply these settings at the group level. So that way later on, if you add new portfolio galleries in there, they are going to automatically take on these settings that you apply to this. And so we're going to click on portfolio right here, and we're going to go over here and click on access. And there's a couple of things that we want to check. So first of all, we definitely want this group and the galleries that are in it to be available to the public. Again, this is our portfolio. This is the work we want showing up in search results. This is the work that we want everybody to be able to access without having to enter a password or anything like that. This is what we are using to acquire new clients and hopefully be found in search results. So we definitely want it to be public. For downloading, this setting should be turned off by default, but it's worth going in and making sure that the downloading is set to disabled. For display size, this is going to control the size of the images that your clients can see in that gallery or that your visitors can see in the gallery. So usually I like to either do extra large or extra large. Again, this is a portfolio gallery. It's not like they're going to be going in there and really zooming in on the details. So extra large is fine. Sharing. We're not going to talk about this for sharing, but what we are going to talk about this for is this little friendly URL right here, okay? And what a friendly URL allows you to do is it allows you to modify the URL of that gallery. And that will actually help your SEO. So that will actually help you show up better in search results by modifying the URL. So right now, the URL for this portfolio group is Zenfolio live photography.zenfolio.com/F blah, 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 a bunch of random numbers and letters that don't make any sense. And so what I can do is I can click friendly URL, and then I can give this group a URL that's a little bit more SEO friendly that actually makes some sense, right? So maybe I would do something like North Carolina photographer. And you can see right here, it's actually affecting the URL. So think about that, right? When you think about what you want to be found for in search results, whether it's, North Carolina photography portfolio or something like that, or photographer, you can put that in the URL. If you want to separate these, you can't separate them like that. You would have to separate them by underscores or dashes like this. If you wanted to do that, you could do dashes. So either way, you could do it like that. Next down here, another really important one to look at is search. All right. Again, this is our content that we do want to be found publicly. So we want all of this stuff to be available in Google search. We want Google search engines indexing this and as far as all the other search engines as well. We want all of this stuff showing up in search results. And so we want to make sure that this content is set to be publicly searchable. Now, a couple of other things that you might want to take a look at, display options right here. It's up to you. It's kind of a personal preference. For me, I really don't feel like there's any need for my metadata or EXIF data to be showing on my portfolio. So I usually kind of turn that off. These other options are up to you. I really don't see a reason to display the number of visitors, so I turn that option off usually as well. All right, so now we're going to click Save. And because we did that at the group or the folder level, all of those settings are now applying to these galleries as well. All right. And if we need to upload a new gallery into that portfolio folder, it's going to automatically apply those same settings without having to do anything. So if I go here and I say new gallery, and I just call this test or whatever, I don't have to worry about checking those settings again, because if I go here, it has already followed all of those settings that I set up. All right, except for the sharing one. The sharing one, you will need to do that individually per gallery. So we'll talk about that in a second. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is talking about the titles, the captions, and the keywords, okay? Because this stuff in here, the titles, the text, anywhere you can control the text, that text matters. And a lot of times what we do as photographers is we get in the habit of thinking of this back end of Zenfolio here as being something strictly for us. And so we'll name things words or things that make sense to us for organization, like portfolio. And this is my family portfolio. So obviously I would just call it family, right? But what you want to get in the habit of thinking for your public facing galleries, if it's this text matters beyond just your internal organization, right? This text can help you show up higher and rank better in search results, depending on the information that you put in there. So rather than just simply calling this folder portfolio, maybe I would call it something like Raleigh NC photography portfolio. Something like that. Just something super simple, just to add a little bit more information, location information, and the word photography, or if it's a specific type of photography, making sure that you include that. As you guys can see, I've done that here with this gallery. It says North Carolina Dance Photographer Portfolio right here. So just thinking about adding a little bit of extra text with a little bit more information can help your SEO. Okay, now that we've done that on the folder here, the other thing that we're going to do is just do that to the gallery really quick. So I'm going to go here and rename that gallery, and we could just say North Carolina Family Photography Portfolio. Now, this name, your visitors don't really have to see it in your site menu, and we're going to get to that. So don't worry about how this is going to look on your website, because you can control the name of that as well. We're going to talk about that in a second. But now that we've controlled the names of the galleries and the groups, the next thing that we're going to look at is we're going to go back to the group right here, and we're going to go to details. Because in details, there is a section called caption. Now, what the caption is good for, again, is a great place that you can add text, but you can also add links and call to actions. And so what you want to think about in this caption is just putting a couple of paragraphs about the type of photography you do, and maybe some specific location. So I could say North Carolina photographer. You fix that. So I could say North Carolina photographer offering portraits, dance photos, and family sessions. All right. So you can just put some, it doesn't really, I mean, it does matter. You don't have to spend a lot of time in the caption. You don't have to write this story. Again, just think about keywords that your potential clients are going to be using to search for a photographer, and making sure that you include some of those keywords in that caption. All right. And then you would want to go down here and do the same thing on your galleries. So on this dance portfolio gallery, if I go to details, what you'll notice on the gallery is that you actually get an additional field, which is keywords. And so up here in the caption, since this is a gallery and it's for a very specific type of photography, this is where I would maybe mention specific locations that I photograph at. So some of my favorite places to do dancers' portraits are in Moore Square in Raleigh, downtown Raleigh, different things like that. So just a couple of paragraphs on the type of photography that's in that portfolio, some specific locations that you like to do, and then maybe a call to action or something like that. So something like, if you're interested in having your photos taken, please click here to reach out to me, and you can actually create a link. So you can actually say, click here, and you can highlight that text and go to the link tool right here, and you can link to your contact page, or you can actually create a link to an email. So if you click here, you can say email, and you could say, something like, okay, I wanted to email zen@zen.com. This would be the email that this email would be going to. Subject line, dancer portraits. And then you could say something like, hi, I am interested in having my photos taken. Okay. And what this is going to do is it's going to create a link that when your visitors click on it, it's going to open up whatever mail application they have set as their default on their computer or on their phone. And it's actually going to have this email already created for them. And all they have to do is hit send, and it's going to send the email to whatever email address you put in here. Now, the cool thing about that is that if you notice, it allows you to actually put in the subject here. So if you think about that for a second, what you can then do is go to your mail inbox and create filters based on subject for where these different emails are coming from. So if somebody were to click on this in my dancer's portfolio and send me that email, I could have an email filter set up in Gmail so that that immediately follows some set of rules based on that subject line that I put in there. So a really cool feature that you can use, and then you just hit OK, and now that's in there. Okay. All right, let's talk about keywords really quick. Keywords can be applied to galleries and to your images. You definitely want to apply keywords to both. We'll talk about that on your images here in a second. For this, you're going to want to put the keywords in here for this particular gallery. So in this case, you might say something like dance, photography. You might say, and just to zoom in here really quick, you separate your single keywords by a comma. Right, so dance, comma, photography, comma. If I wanted to do a keyword phrase, which I do recommend that you do a keyword phrase, I would enclose it in quotations. So I think the last time I did a lot of research on this, what was typically recommended by the professionals was about 15 total keywords, and then that being a mix of keyword phrases and then single keywords. So dance, photography, and then maybe I could say something like, dancer portraits. Maybe I could say something like ballet photos. And so I'm just enclosing those keyword phrases in quotation marks is how I'm doing it. All right. And then while we're here, we'll go ahead and talk about categories. Again, these are kind of like keywords. These are also going to help with your SEO as well. So we're going to click on this and we're just going to say, okay, this gallery is of people, and you could say something like this is, and you guys can't see the full list, but portraits. All right. And so what I've done to this gallery so far is I've changed the name. I have added in a caption with a link. I've added keywords, and then I also categorize it, and I'm going to hit save. Now, what you would want to do is make sure that you come do that to the other gallery as well. All right, making sure that you're giving it captions, that you're putting a call to action in your captions, you're keywording it, and you're categorizing it. But now let's go in and actually talk about the images that are in that gallery. As you'll notice in here, if I go to the family gallery, you're going to see that the image titles look probably somewhat like a file name, right? And so file names right here, those are helpful for you. So I definitely recommend that for your client galleries where you need to be able to reference images, you use your file names as your image titles. It's going to be helpful for you and it's going to be helpful for your clients. But when it comes to publicly facing portfolio galleries, that file name isn't doing you any good because it's not really any kind of search engine friendly. It doesn't have any keywords, anything like that. And so on the dancer portfolio, and I did the titling in Lightroom, so you can update the titling in Lightroom, and also you can keyword your images in Lightroom as well. But in the on the titles here, just take a look at how I kind of modified these titles. So you don't have to go really crazy, but more of a description of the image. So indoor studio portrait of woman dancer, indoor studio portrait of female dancer, indoor studio portrait of a girl dancer. And it just kind of describes the image. Again, it's just making it a little more SEO friendly, a little bit more searchable. And if you forgot to update that before you upload it to Zenfolio, you can definitely do it in Zenfolio just by clicking on an image, and then you can go to details, and under details, that is where you can actually go and modify the title. And it's also important to make sure that that title goes down into your alt attribute. All right. Now, the images also have a caption as well. Definitely nice to have some information in there. And then keywords and categories right here. One thing that you do not want to do is you do not want to plaster the same keyword in the gallery and all over your images a whole bunch, because Google actually frowns on that, and they tend to see it as what's called black hat SEO, where you're kind of trying to cheat the system by stuffing a bunch of keywords in there. And so you want to be careful making sure that you don't use a bunch of the same keyword repeated over and over again in your galleries and on your images. All right. And so to kind of show you how I recommend keywording your images if you've already uploaded them to Zenfolio, let's go into this family gallery and I'll kind of show you how I prefer to do it. So we do know that all of these images are family portraits, right? Whether it's a whole family, whether it's indoors or outdoors. So what I can do to kind of get started is I can select all of the images by clicking the all button right up here. And then I can go to details, and I'm now modifying these detail settings for all of the images that I have selected. And so what I'll do is I'll come down here to the keywords and I'll just type family, comma, portraits. All right. And then I'm also going to go ahead and categorize everything while I'm here. So we'll say people, and then we'll say, I don't know if there's a family. There is a family. So we'll say family and hit save. And so what I did was I gave all of those images the keyword family, portraits, and the same category. But now what I can do is kind of go in and start applying some diverse keywords and keyword phrases to these. And so the trick that I like to use is to use Command or Control on my keyboard and select images that are the same, right? So for instance, we have some images in here that are the whole family or family groups. And then we have some that are just like mom and or dad and daughter, or mom and daughter, or grandpa and son. And so what you can do is you can hold Command or Control on your keyboard, and then you can just click on the images that are kind of relevant or that are kind of the same. So here's what we'll do. We'll do all the outdoor ones first. So we're going to say here, this one's outdoors, that's outdoors, this one's outdoors, and this one's outdoors. So now I have all the outdoor ones selected. I can then go back up to details, and I can now add outdoor. We could say family photo. We can say outdoor. We'll say outdoor family photos as a keyword phrase. So outdoor family photos. All right, and then hit save. So I just modified those ones that I had selected. And then we can switch to doing the other ones, right? So now we can do all of the indoor ones. We can hold Command, select the indoor ones, indoor, indoor, indoor. Maybe I would call that studio instead of indoor. Indoor, and then we'll go up here to details and just do the exact same thing. So we could say indoor family photos, and then click save, right? So I'm kind of applying similar keywords, but I'm diversifying them across the images in there based on the actual subject matter of the image, right? And that's something that's really helpful to do. Now, the next thing that we want to take a look at is making sure that that information is actually showing on our website, right? Because if we go in here and we do all of that back-end work, it needs to actually be visible to our visitors on our website. Because when you have information in your site, but it's hidden to visitors, and search engines see that, and they recognize that, okay, he's got all these keywords and stuff, but he's not actually showing it, Google's like, okay, well then it must not matter because his visitors can't even see it. So we don't care about it either. We're not going to let that affect his search rankings. So you have to make sure that this stuff shows. Now, you don't have to show it for every gallery, but you definitely want it showing for your portfolio gallery. So what we're going to do is we're going to customize the appearance of the portfolio gallery. So I'm just going to go ahead and go to the dance portfolio. And then I like to work in multiple tabs. So whenever I'm customizing anything on Zenfolio, what I like to do is I like to go to preview right here. I'm going to right click on that and open it in a new tab. So let me just bring this down here so you guys can see. I have the backend view of Zenfolio in this tab. In this tab right here, I'm going to have the current visitor view for that gallery, right? So this is the current visitor view for that gallery. And what I want to do is I want to customize that. So I'm going to go to edit and I'm going to go to edit page right here. And we're now going to be in customized view for that gallery. Okay. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to options, uncheck use default. Zenfolio lets you have one page default setting for your galleries. Hopefully, you are going to have far more client galleries than you're going to have portfolio galleries. So save that default setting for your client galleries and individually customize your portfolio galleries. So that's why I'm unchecking the default settings and I'm going to go in and manually customize this. So I'm going to go to page elements first, and I'm going to make sure that right here, the caption is set to show, the categories and keywords are set to show. And then under thumbnails, I'm going to make sure that my title is showing like this. All right. And then also, I'm going to come down here and just make sure that most of these things are set to hide. And then I'm going to hit apply. And so what you're going to see now is it's not really going to change much of what you saw before. You saw the title of the gallery. Here's the caption. So if I had more information, there'd be more information here, but right now it's just a click here. And then what you'll notice is that the keywords are not showing up, right? And you said, well, I thought you showed the keywords. So Zenfolio knows that you don't want keywords hovering over your images. You don't want them crowding all of this space. And so it's actually down here at the bottom, tucked away in this nice little box, to where if visitors want to see the categories and keywords, they can expand this and they can see it right here, but it's not taking up space on the page. All right. And so that is how I recommend setting up your portfolio galleries, using those settings, making sure that all that text is set to show, making sure that you categorize everything, you keyword everything, you give it really smart titles. And then the last thing is setting this up so that your visitors can easily navigate your portfolio. And so what we'll do is we're going to go right here and click add new, and we're going to say portfolio. I'm going to hit enter on my keyboard, and then all I'm going to do at this point is set this to show a drop-down menu and hit update. Now, while I'm sitting here, I'm going to grab this and go ahead and move this to the top. I want my portfolio being the very first thing that people see when they come to my website. So I'm going to drag it up to the top. Now we're going to hover back over that. We're going to hit the little plus icon. We're going to go here and we'll say family portraits. Notice that I'm in control of the title of that menu item. I don't have to call it North Carolina Family Portrait Photographer or anything like that. Then we're going to link this to a group, gallery, or collection. We're going to hit this little select button. And then really important that you do this step. You're going to go to your portfolio folder, expand it, and then actually click on the gallery that you want to link to. Don't just click on the folder, click on the gallery. Hit select and update. And we're going to do that one more time. So hit the plus button. We're going to go in here. We'll say dance portraits. Hit enter. Hit select right here. And then we'll go to that dance portfolio and hit update. All right, so I'm going to reload this and then I'll publish it and I'll show you exactly how this works. So now when somebody lands on my website, they can go to portfolio. There's a nice little drop down and they can quickly navigate to the specific gallery that they want to look at. They can go back up here and use the drop down to go to the next portfolio that they're interested in.